Hey guys, welcome back to more AFK Arena. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at furniture wish list priorities. In this video, we're going to be looking at a post by Whitesushii, which I just really enjoyed the visual, the way he represented it, and the descriptions he gave for every hero. So I wanted to do a brief look at it, but I'll leave it linked in the description so you guys can look to your heart's content. I know Lincoln made a video on the topic like a week or two ago, so I'll leave that in the description as well if you want to see his version of it as well. But just take all these things with a grain of salt. It's going to be different for everyone. Celestial Cybergeans, what your main carry hero is, what you just enjoy. So take everything with a grain of salt. We're going to go look through the post, so let's get into it. Okay, so here's the Whitesushii post. He did do a post like a day before this one, which was really confusing and complex, and I struggled to understand it a little bit. So he then reformatted it and put it into this format, which is really nice. Once again, it will be linked in the description if you really want to go in depth into some of the other units in the game. So there's a few, I just want to highlight some, take a look at some that I'm doing, and stuff like that. So obviously we're going to start in the S tier. Talene, to me, 3 of 9. Yes, it's about the healing. He does say it's okay. He says 9 of 9. So this is what I want to look at: is the S, A, yada yada yada, and then the good average. So you can look at whether whether it's the 3 of 9 or the 9 of 9 that makes him good. Now 3 of 9 for Talene is good. Talene's one of those ones that is just a hero that's so strong. If you have her built, I'd just go straight to 9 anyway, because the stats are going to be really nice. So that is something else to consider. And also in the most recent dev post, they have said that, not that Talene applies to this, but furniture and signature items that don't really help the unit, they're going to look at buffing some of them or changing them. So keep in mind that that is going to be a thing moving forward, that they may actually fix some of these. So some of these, this may change in the future if they do an update where they do a bunch of changes and stuff like that. But Talene, due to the fact that she's just so strong, and all of her stats are really important, I like taking her to 9 personally straight away. Besides that, for Celestials and Hypergeans, I'm only going to touch on Wukong. Maybe the twins as well. Twins, I'm just going to 3 with mine and then I'll stop. I'm just not overly excited about the 9 of 9, and I don't feel like they need the stats. Like, the stats are nice on twins, but they don't need it as much as Talene does. As for Wukong, definitely one that a lot of people can build, so he's the way that's the reason why I'm going to touch on him. The 3 of 9 is really solid. If you really love Wukong, it's not too bad to go to 9, but 3 of 9, he's one that's definitely worth it because most people can build him. Now, moving on from that, we do have Irons. Now, Irons is such a beast at the moment. People are going to start getting him in December, the free-to-play community. I just really think it's worth putting him on the list now if you know you're going to get him. Like he says, the 3 of 9 is bad, but who cares? I'm going all the way to 9 with this guy because he's an absolute savage, and there's no other way to look at it for me, so go ahead and get that. Leica, amazing. Her 3 of 9 is nice. Her 9 of 9 is huge. Leica being one of those units that can splash around any team is really worth it. Being able to basically deal double the damage, like hit 2 targets with all your abilities, is really huge, especially when she brings that armor break. Really effective, and because that haste from Leica is just so important in general, definitely a really good staple to put on the wish list. Iron, if he's your main damage dealer, I'd definitely go for 9 of 9. I know he says it's only average. I personally like 9 Iron, so that's why I'd go him, but up to you on that one. Just those ignore defense effects are really nice. Tassie making out the 3-man Wilder core is also fantastic. Just teleporting like crazy, it's actually really frustrating. So Tassie definitely worth going ahead and doing. I didn't mention Aziz and Athalia. Both these guys are really strong as well. For me personally, I'd prioritize getting the twins to 3 before Aziz, but it's straight up to you. It doesn't really matter. If you're not building the twins, if you're going to have Aziz ascended first, go ahead and do him. Rowan's the interesting one in this list. So in this one, he's put him in S tier, but then gone average and bad. Now, it's basically just because Rowan is so good and he's in every team, that he's going to be worth it in that sense. So the stats are really going to buff him. In the end game, you will be using Rowan in the front row a lot, so every stat that you can give him is going to help. Plus, even though the healing from his furniture item isn't the best, it's nice to have. So that's something else to consider. Gwyneth's one is more for PvP. I believe that he's got good for 3. Basically making her first arrow guaranteed to be lightning fire. Really strong for PvP, especially with the new change to the end game of new campaign changes of the game, where you don't have to get all stages done in one hit on the multi battles. You can just keep retrying. It's not too hard to retry for that proc. However, you do get the extra damage on it as well, which is nice. If you like, for me, Gwyneth's one of those ones, if you're investing in her and you have her at like 30 signature item, meaning she's been one of your main damage dealers, then I'd go ahead and straight invest in her. If you're like me on my account, on my non-Gwyneth account, where I've got her sitting at 20, she's like one of those ones that I sometimes use, sometimes don't, then I'd sort of not prioritizing her in the furniture. That's the way I'm looking at it. Chicken for me is a staple. I just love this guy. 3 of 9 furniture, grouping up to synergize with Iron is just absolutely savage. So Chicken, he's one that I always put on a wish list. But that is my personal bias because I love the gameplay of it. If you don't have anything that's going to benefit from that, even though a lot of things benefit from it, then it's not worth it. Or if you have no interest in building the chicken. But for me, that 3 furniture is so nice because I use Iron so much. And I think I'm like 1 copy away from Ascended. So hopefully we can do some more testing of that chicken coming soon. Pharrell, really good. This one intrigued me. The average on the 9 of 9. A lot of people think 9 of 9 is good, but it's average at best. There's a translation error where Pharrell only stuns enemies when he auto attacks them, not as soon as they get 3 spirits. Unfortunately, Pharrell does not attack much, about 7 times in 90 seconds, not counting the... Okay, so there you go. So that is why Pharrell's 9 of 9 ain't so good. And that's where translations can really hurt you, because I always thought Pharrell was one that you really want to go 9 of 9 with, because it's basically once he stacks his spirits to a certain point, they're going to stun, and that's what the 9 of 9 says. But it's once they're at a certain stacking, then he has to auto attack them at that many stacks to get the stun, so it's not as effective. However, the 3 of 9 is still really solid. Screg, honestly, I'm thinking about starting to summon for Screg and getting him built up. I just love his furniture. Really, just the benefits it gives to your lunging heroes is absolutely huge. And I just love Screg. I've loved Screg's design. Like when I first started playing the game, he was my favorite character. His design was sick. Now the fact that he's actually getting a lot more useful, and he can really buff things like Zafrael, Lucretia, the rest of the maulers that lunge and get in the enemy side of the field. It's so good. It's so strong. Honestly for me, Thorin, I don't cheese too much, so I'm not a big fan. But if you're a big cheese user, go nuts. But for me, I'm just not overly there on Thorin yet. I haven't even built him on my account. Isolde, another staple, 3 of 9. Don't stress a bit. Like on my account, I've got him ascended. I'm going 3 and then stopping. You just want to get that attack buff. It's really, really nice. The 9 is like a luxury thing that you don't 100% need. So that is going to be that. So that basically covers all the ones he's put in S tier, except for a couple of them like the Zolrath, which Zolrath is just amazing at 3 of 9. Just getting into the battlefield earlier is phenomenal. So if you have him, but not many people do. Same with Khazad, same with Orthros. They're sort of the more luxury ones that we're not going to get as much. But I do really think this is the top tier. The one other one that I want to mention is, where is it? Is Zafrael. So Zafrael, once again, very, very niche, but I really do like his 9 of 9. If you are building a Zafrael, I definitely put him in the priority. And that's the big thing to remember is you're going to probably want to prioritize things that you are building anyway, especially in the damage dealer sense. Like when I said, I didn't even mention Stitchy, did I? Stitchy is sick to get to 3. If you're using, and once again, this falls into that case, like Gwyneth, Iron, Stitchy, Irons, anything you're using as a main damage dealer, look at whether you're upgrading their signature item and stuff like that and how core they are to your team. So like I said with Gwyneth, because mine's only a 20 signature item, I don't use her all the time. She's just in there for the, certain battles where she's going to be better. Then like you don't need to invest as hard in it. Whereas if I had Stitchy at 30 signature item, he was my main one. Sorry, Damon, for those who get salty when I say Stitchy. Then I would go ahead and take him straight to 9 because you've already invested that much into him and you really want to make them work. Same with Iron on my account, I'm going straight for 9 because he's an absolute beast and I love it. Whereas some of the supports like Tassie, Leica, Ziz, all those sorts of things, you can just do them. Chicken, another perfect example. You don't have to be investing heavily into their signature item to make it worth going for their furniture. Just that extra support or survivability or, synergies they give is going to be worth it in that sense. Okay, so I feel like I've talked for a long time, so I'm just going to go ahead and do some special mentions. I'll leave this link in the description. You guys can definitely go ahead and check out the rest of this stuff. Some other ones, Lucretia, I'm going to do her as a carry on free to play. He says it's a bit like of an over tuning. You don't really need this. I still really like it because he says that the main reason is Lucretia cheese. However, stats are also really going to help with Lucretia cheese. And then if you get to that stage where you can just Hellfire and, they can't ult, it is going to be really nice, especially if they have some tanky enemies. Not letting them ult is going to be handy. Albedo, for me, if you're using irons or using a lot of dimensionals, and as the game goes on, you're going to be using her more for her signature item anyway. So I feel like Albedo is a really good one to use if you've got her, and especially if you're using irons as one of your main ones at the moment. At the time of recording this, they're talking about giving a buff to Antandra. So Antandra's signature items, furniture item abilities are really strong in my opinion. However, her as a unit isn't so strong. So if she gets buffed, then that is going to become much more relevant. Okay for stats here, I still really like Ezio's. I feel like Ezio's used to read something different on the 3 of 9, that it used to be when his execute was ready to use, it would remove. Now it's when he executes someone, he removes debuffs, so it's not as strong. I agree with him there, but I still like starting with 500 energy on Ezio, so I'm going with him. But I just all around love Ezio, and I just see dimensionals becoming more and more relevant the more dimensionals that come into the game, so he is one that I am definitely looking at. And then the last special mention from the bottom here is Thane. As you can see, both of his are very, very strong. Kind of an Antandra situation if he does get buffed eventually, because he's one of those heroes that I feel like is in line to get a buff. If he does receive it, that will bump him up in priority, depending on how good of a hero he becomes. So Antandra and Thane, 2 to watch out for buffs coming to them in the game. Thane hasn't been confirmed to have buffs, but if he does, kind of like Antandra, and they become solid heroes, then definitely worth putting in. Anyway, I'm sorry for talking at you guys for so long. Go check this post out. It's really, really nice. Once again, take it all with a grain of salt, and if you just have fun building something, kind of like me with Ezio, I love building him. He's down there between B and C ranks, but hey, I'm still going to 9 with him. So, end goal of the game is to just have fun. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.